So starting next Friday, we're going to have one featuring actually 3 VCs. So I'm going to be announcing a 3rd VC that's going to be joining us as well. So if you're curious on how venture capital firms are taking a look at voice or what the prospects looks like there, definitely join in or submit any questions beforehand. And we also have the Kathy Pearl, head of conversation, design, and outreach at Google, joining us at the end of the month, which is going to be a really awesome deep dive into Google Assistant, how we think about that at Voiceflow, and how Kathy's been dealing with that up until now. So definitely make sure that you save your spot for those events as well. So without further ado, I'm going to let the man of the hour take over so you can see what Nico has prepared for this week. All you, Nico.
Okay, thanks. We'll start to share my screen. Should be the right one. Okay. Oops. Okay, just need to fix something here. And okay, sorry, need to reboot that. We'll be right back.
As Nico rejoins, if you guys have any questions, feel free to post them inside the chat, and we'd be happy to get to them.
And I'm back. Sorry about that. Need to update some privacy settings here. So, can you see my screen? We are on the Video Send Message API project.
Yes, we can.
Okay. So again, yes, thanks for the message and the feedback you send us after each session. It's great to have that. It's helped us to do a better job on making the next sessions. So yeah, thanks again. For those that are following the session since the beginning, they'll start to know how I'm working. Basically, the agenda is my browser tabs. So today we are starting with a quick question from a user on how to use SNS. So that's a quick one. We have a template for that using the Twilio API. By the way, you can access the template by clicking right here, the little eye icon, and go to template. Template are a Voiceflow project that you can import on your account. You just need to click on the project. And yeah, by the way, this is the one, Twilio integration demo. So the only thing you you should have to know is on the Twilio side, you first need to create a programmable SNS. I've already done that, so I will show you on the programmable program. Okay, you can read it. That's the voice one. And yeah, you have a get started. So first you need to verify your number, otherwise it will not work, and then create a Twilio number. This is part of the trial. You can do that for free and test your skill with that. Everything else is in comment on the skill on the project, and it's pretty straightforward. Another one, again, that's an easy one. So I've seen something this morning on Facebook where a user was testing the skill on multiple devices, but the devices were linked to the same account. So the variable where the global variable from the project were shared with the same user. So it can be tricky to deal with that. So instead of using the user station, for example, to save and share the data, you can also use the device ID. So to do that, you need just this simple line of code, and I will update that. I think it's already on the Google Classroom, actually, but instead of grabbing the user ID, you're grabbing the device ID. So you will have the ID corresponding to the device the user is actually using, and you can track that on your database. Can be a Google Sheet, can be a table, whatever. So even if it's the same account, you will have, you can save different information regarding the device instead of the user. Yes, we are ready to start on the today big thing. So I want to talk about intent, slots, and also because this is something that user ask a lot about, how to transform what the user is saying, so the user utterance, to a search for a database, and from that search grab the response or the answer we want. I've made a first project with a Google Sheet integration. So that's a simple one. We have a Google Sheet here with artist and album, artist name and album. And what we want to do is let the user ask for an artist, and we will send back the album corresponding to that. And we can also send a URL, of course, if you want to stream that, for example. So the way we are doing that in this project is by, again, using the Google Sheet integration. I will zoom in. But we will also see that it can be very tricky. And that's the point of this project. Try to debug pretty much everything you can encounter during the process of creating the voice app. So for example, here we are using a capture block to try to capture what the user will say when we ask him for, or we ask them for an artist name. So let's say you can say Maroon 5, Queen, Miro, The Weeknd, and we should match, find a match here. The way the Google integration works is we do a retrieve on the sheet songs, and the settings are, because we are looking for the artist, we are trying to find the artist value that we got from the capture block right here, because everything that the capture block will capture will be mapped to the artist variable. So this is the variable we want to use to try to retrieve the information corresponding to this artist. And we are using an artist lower here because this is a good thing to always try to do the search with lowercase. So here we are using a simple script that will grab the artist column and make a new value in lowercase here. So basically, it's cloning that, but it's putting everything in lowercase. And it's the same for the album. Why that? Because Alexa can respond to or transform the user returns in something with some uppercase sometimes, and it's common with the names, for example, artist names. This is something that can happen. if Alexa recognized that it's a famous people, so she tend to put the first letter in uppercase. And this is what we are going to also do right here. So basically, we are using the code block to say that we want the artist variable value to lowercase, and that's the code to do that. It's just to be sure that we are sending a lowercase value to the Google Sheet, and here, using the artist lower column, we are sure that we are do the comparison with a lower string also. So after that, we are checking if, because yeah, I just want to say that the failure here doesn't mean that the Google Sheet didn't return any response. At least it doesn't mean that it didn't find any result. The failure here is a network failure, if you want. So it will happen only if we can't access the Google Sheet or stuff like that. It doesn't mean that we don't find any result. If we don't find any result, it will be a success, at least for the integration block. But the response will have no result. So just to be sure that we have something, we need to use this kind of expression, and I will share the project with you so you can play with that. But basically, this is an expression to check if artist, so the value of our variable, has been set or no. And define means that nothing is set on the artist variable, and we do a or, which means that we are trying to find if the artist is undefined or album is undefined, then this is a fail. So we go to sorry, I can't find anything. Yeah, of course, if we find something, we just use the variable that we have mapped right here from the Google integration block. So this is the result. Artist will go to the artist variable in Voiceflow. Album, which is this column again, album, will go to the album variable within Voiceflow, and we do the same for the URL. And as you can see here, we are using lower because we want to do the comparison in lowercase, but we are setting the artist, not the artist lower, because we want the correct format of the artist name and the album. We want the uppercase and stuff like that. And this variable will be then used in the speak block right here, just to say, okay, we found the album by the artist. We are linking that right here. The other thing I want to share with you is this is something I've seen a lot. So sometimes you want to add some customization to the slot or the intent. And by that, I mean, I've seen that a lot. So you have a yes intent. That's the default one from the, that's the Amazon yes intent. So that's the one that Amazon gives us to play with. And it should handle pretty much all the yes response, but sometimes you want to add some stuff. What I'm seeing a lot is this kind of thing. So users are adding another custom one with a yes, please, yes. And that's not a good idea. And I will show you that during the demo here. So after finding or not an album and an artist, we're asking the user if they want to do that again with a yes, default Amazon yes intent, a no intent, and a custom one. we have also the health. This is something you want to do, even if you think that it will never trigger the health. It's a good practice to add a block, a speak block, just in case, and to handle if the health is triggered, or if the user don't say any yes or no, or yeah, that's a good thing to put a speak block right here. And this one is just for a demo purpose, but you will see why I'm using this one right here. Basically, it's just to demo that if we are using a yes and a yes custom with some utterances that are in conflict with the default Amazon yes intent, when you are here and you say yes to Alexa, it will trigger the yes custom. It will not trigger this yes. Basically, we'll go to, instead of exceeding the scale, this yes will trigger and you will go back to the beginning, and that's not what you want. So let's test that on the Alexa simulator. Just before testing it, I want to show you what I mean by utterance conflict. So this is something you can access on the build tab. And here you have utterance conflict 4. You also have a kind of a pop-up here, notification here. And if you click right there, you will see that we have some conflict. So what does that mean? It means that the yep is already handled by the Amazon yes intent. So you don't need to add that to the yes custom. The yes is also, of course, handled by Amazon yes intent. The yes please, same, and the yep, same. So this means that your yes custom intent don't need to be there. You don't want to add a yes intent. What you can do is, if the question is do you want to try another artist? Instead of using yep, yes, yes, please, you can add search for a new artist, and that will work because this is not conflicting with the other intent. So if you can custom a yes response with, because the user can answer that with something else than a yes or yes please, but it's more for something like search for another artist or stuff like that. Let's just demo that. So this is Fixit, our Google demo. And by the way, you don't want to use words like Google in your invocation name. This is just for the demo. Okay, what artist are you looking for? Let's start with Maroon 5. And I'm typing 5 instead of the number because this is the way that Alexa will translate. So if I'm using the voice here and I'm saying Maroon 5, this is what you will get from Alexa. But it's handled correctly by the intent. Let's just show the. It's not there, sorry, it's in the capture block. Maroon 5, so I've set a 5 right, like this, but even if we say Maroon 5 with the word, it will be translated to a 5. So you need to write 5 in letters, but Alexa will transform the 5 in letter to a 5, the number, if that makes sense. So yeah, it works. The Google integration find the album for the Maroon 5. Maroon 5, this is the red pill. That's fine. You can do that with yes. We want to try another one. Yes. And that's the other thing I want to show you. So here we have an undefined, and sure, we can handle that again here, checking the variable and to see if the variable has been set or not, instead of just going through the code block and try to retrieve a value that is not there. Basically, it means that the artist has not been set. So the capture block did not recognize the word, because I've typed mirrors instead of mirror. And yeah, it's just show you how painful it can be if you try to do that that way, because you will have to set some more example. You don't have to put all the artists, but you at least need to help Alexa to understand what you are looking for and what the user are looking for. So you will have to add much more example here. So another thing you can do, it's to use the artist slot type, because you don't have to set anything, and it will grab most of the artists that you will type during the test. So this is a way to solve that, and I will show you another way to create or design the project. But again, custom slot can be fine, but you will have to train Alexa, so you will have to add some utterances for that. So as soon as you can, use a pre-made slot type. And we have artists, we have album for that. So yeah, do not hesitate to use those slot type. Do you want to try with another artist? So this is the other issue I want to share with you. Remember, we've said a custom yes, no custom, yes custom intent, sorry, with a yep, yes, please. So we are right here. Do you want to try another artist? I will say no. It will go there and ask me if I'm sure. Are you sure? Let's do that. So, no. Are you sure? Yes, I am. Yes is linked to nothing. So it will go there. So it will exit the skill. Else is linked to the beginning right here. Because if the user don't say yes, they're not sure. So we are going to the beginning and ask for a new artist name. But look, so are you sure? Yes, I'm sure. And what's happening here? Okay, you got it. We are back to the beginning. How can this happen? Just because we are the conflict here. So Alexa, instead of filling this intent, she filled this one. She filled this one. And because she fills this one, we are going back to the beginning. And why is that? Again, because we have some conflict and because custom intent take the lead on the default Amazon slot, which is good, but not in this case. And as you can see here, we've seen that in the beginning of the session, a lot of conflict. You click on evaluate model, and say yes. What's happening? Alexa just, the tools just say that the yes will be mapped to the yes custom instead of the Amazon default yes intent. And that's exactly why this is not working right here. So an easy way to fix this is basically by removing this this custom slot with this custom intent. Sorry, you don't need that one, so you can remove that. But instead of that, we'll say search for another artist. Enter to validate, remove those, and we are sending back to Alexa. And this will fix the skill. And why it's uploading, you may face this kind of situation, or let's say, for example, you have a live skill. This is a quiz, and you have one of the part of the skill is a skill on a certain model of car, let's say a Ford. So to launch the skill, you ask for the Ford quiz. And then in this quiz, you have an answer for a car manufacturer, which is Ford. If you do that, you will have a conflict. And maybe you don't have the time to test the skill before publishing it or submitting it to the Alexa store. But the fact is that the skill is broken when the user enter the car quiz and answer the correct answer, which is Ford. And to deal with that, you can go to your live skill, and a thing that Amazon have done is you can now edit all the intent right here. So this is not a new thing. The new thing is that you can now update live skill. So editing that, building and updating will update the live skill without going through certification, and that can help. That can help sometime. Do not try to add intent because it's not updating the code. It's only updating the interaction model. So you can add slot synonyms. You can add intent or remove intent and update the live skill, but do not create intent or hope for something will change in the code. This is not the case. If you want to do that, you need to edit the skill within inside Voiceflow and then upload and submit for certification again. So yeah, it has been uploaded. Let's just refresh the page. We should see that disappear and be replaced by search for another artist. And that's the case. We have new conflict, and this is because we have added the artist, and the artist will conflict with this one, the capture intent, and the so the capture intent, sorry, is the capture block. So where we are using the artist slot, and it's conflicting with this Amazon default. But in this situation, is not a big deal because again, the capture intent will take the lead, as you can see here. Alexa will ignore the build it intent and select capture intent. And again, you can test that right here. Round 5. And yes, it's captured by the capture intent, which is the capture block, and with the capture, the maroon 5 value for the slot. So far, so good. Let's test that again and see if it solved the yes issue. Okay. Svenja. So the match was fine. We have the value of the slot with the uppercase because we are mapping this column. And then we're trying to say no. Are you sure? Yes, I am, and I should exit the skill, which is not the case. So that's another thing. We still have another issue here. Oh yeah, I should have refreshed that before, sorry. So I think this is the refresh thing, but I will just check. No, we have a yes that is captured by the capture block again. And this is the one. So, okay, I will just show you the demo with that one because I will show you another way to do that on the next project, which is not by not using the capture block for this reason. And if we do that, yes, custom. So yeah, it's working. Let's just try that again. Yeah. On 5. No. And if I do this, it should go, yeah, it should go to the beginning. So that's for the Google integration part of doing this. And now we are going to do that in another way, which for me, it's a better way to do it. But I've also made a project for that, so you can compare which one is better for you. So first, I need to talk a bit about, and let's move that on the other side, Algoria. This is the tools we are going to use. And why we are using external stuff here? Simply because Alexa is not made to handle what you are doing with the value or the utterance she's giving you back. It's not her job. The job of Alexa or Google is to try to find the word or the intent you want to grab from the user utterance or answer. And that's pretty much it. And they're doing a good job on that, but it's not their job to do whatever you want to do after that within the skill. So that's why you may want to go with some external services, and Algoria is one of them. And what this kind of services can help us with today is because basically it will do the match for us. So you can forget about dealing with uppercase, lowercase. You can forget about just sending the exact sentence or the exact word you want to send. For example, miro or miros. You don't have to deal with that. So I will explain you that in a moment. I will just want to show you how to first create what you need to put that in place. So obviously go to Algolia, create an account. You will have access to a free account. You can try the tools. And you will want to create a new app. So you give it a name. Test, you select the plan you want. You have the different type of plan here. You click on create and you choose for the main region. So you will have different ping. We'll choose Germany. Okay, and what Algolia is saying to us is you need to create an index. And what they call index is the database or your Google spreadsheet. So create an index. This is the demo index. No record. Yes, it's an empty one. So you can now upload record. So you can use a file for that. You can use an API, the API, the Algolia API, or add manually. This is what you want to do right here. I'm going to copy and paste something I've already made to gain some time here. And this is something I've grabbed from the Spotify API. So if you guys have seen the previous one, you know how to deal with API. And basically, it's just a call to grab the top, I don't know, top 100 or something like that song. And you pass that here. And this is pure JSON. So same here, you should be used to that. This is something you are used to deal with. But yes, again, a JSON with, for example, here, artist, album, and the URL. Pretty much the same thing we have on the Google spreadsheet, but in the JSON format. So I will add those 20, I think it's 20, yes, 20 records. And now we have a kind of a preview of all the record we have here. The thing is, now what you want to do is to tell Algolia what you will search for. So what are the searchable attributes? Because in our record, we have URL, for example, and the user will not search for a URL. So we are adding in the album and the artist. You can review and save setting. And the other thing you will want to do is to then grab the API key to talk to the Algolia API. And I will explain that. Actually, I will explain that right now. I will just want to, yeah, I will just show you a demo of what we are trying to do. So again, in this, just to demo you the kind of thing we can do. Basically, this is the search, the query I've sent. So of course, if I type the Beatles, easy one. We can do that with a Google Sheet because that's matched exactly the same. Uppercase here, here, and here. The thing is, this work also. Yep, we have one result. That's still the Beatle. The thing is, this work also. And the thing is, listen to the Beatles works also. And that's exactly what we want. Even if the user don't precisely say what they want to search for, or if the user say, okay, I want to listen for Abbey Road. So if we send the query to the Google spreadsheet, I want to listen to Abbey Road, you will never get a result, but you will with this kind of API. So the setup is pretty straightforward. Do not hesitate if you have any question on that. But if we go back to the API, the project, sorry, and we go to the integration block, this is, again, this is not so heavy to set up. Basically, it's just one call. And yeah, you will need to set to put an API key, but we are used to that. We need the Algoria application ID, and by the way, this is what you have right there. And everything is well explained in the API documentation. So again, not a big deal. I will show you because I've read the documentation. I will show you. I will share with you how to exactly set up that. But yes, you need the what they call the app ID. You are using it here, and it's also needs to be in the URL. And the other thing you want is the index name. So for me, this one is the index songs. So I'm using that. For those that used to deal with Airtable, it's pretty much the same thing here. The database name is the index name here. And then we are making a query with the artist and the album, because yeah, as we've seen, we don't we can put pretty much whatever we want here. So why not using not only the artist or the album, but also both. The user can say, I want to listen to Abbey Road from the Beatles, and it should get this result. And that's exactly what we are doing here. And again, this will share this project with you guys, so you can have a look at it. And from this, so let's say the artist, Beatles, we don't set an album, we just want to test that. So this is the result. We have one hit, yes, because in the in all the database we only have one Beatles, I think. We have the blue, we have some, but yeah, it's much exactly the artist name. So that's an easy one for the API. And we have all the information. So what we want to get from this API response is we want to grab the first result. You can have multiple results if you are using a word that is in common with some other album names, for example. It will try to match the best result, but you can have multiple results. So what we want here is to take and grab the first one. And again, an array starts always at 0. So 0 is the first one. And we want the artist, the album, the URL. And the other thing we want to know is the number of hits. Here we have one. So it means that the API has found one result. So this is the way to check if we have a result or no. And we will use that right here in the mapping. So response, number hit, we are mapping that to the number hits variable. Then we are grabbing the artist from the first array. Same for the album and the URL. And right after that, we are just checking if number hit is equal to 0, meaning no result. If it's the case, nope, I can find that right now. Else, yeah, I found something. Here's the song from the Beatles album, Abbey Road, enjoy. And we are exiting the demo. If we don't find something, we're asking the user if they want to go back and stuff like that. So that's it for the API. Again, the magic behind that is that they are doing all the heavy stuff here. Just like trying to, let's say I want, because I've seen that the deluxe, you see, deluxe, we have Queen, we have One Direction. Let's say the user say, listen to deluxe from One Direction. And we will have One Direction first, Imagine Dragons, because they also have deluxe in the album. Yeah, you see that. So even if we have the same word in multiple results, the API will try to find what's match one here, One Direction. And you can see right here. So that's the good thing of using this kind of API. And yeah, the big difference with the previous skill is that we are not using a capture block, but we are using a choice block with some utterances. And so the user can ask for the album only, the artist only, but they can ask for one of artist album or the album from the artist. What about the artist? I want to listen to the artist, etc. So it's up to you to add the more utterances to get the variation, but it's just to give you a preview of what the user can say. And by the way, in this case, if the user just say an artist name, it will work. Or then can go beyond that and ask for the Courage from Celine Dion, for example. And again, it will send back the correct result. That's it. Now, another thing I want to share with you guys is that the good thing is, let's say you have all the information here. Here we are dealing with 20 records, but maybe you want the user be able to add records to this database. And the good thing is that they have also in the API, you can also post some stuff. So this is not the same. This is something I've copy-pasted from a previous project, but again, this is JSON. And for Airtable user, this is easy to understand. So basically you send, for this example, it should like something artists and the name of the artist. So you can, for example, if the API return no results, which means that they didn't find anything, you can ask the user if they want to add that to the database, and you can then fill the one that are not completed, or the one that's the user asked it for. So yeah, again, a good way to handle that. Just checking if I'm missing something. Yeah, I think we have everything. Maybe we can try that. Hi there. Let's try another one actually. Red Dot. Oh yeah, okay. I haven't tried that one, but give me some Red Dot. And yeah, the magic happened. So we asked for Red Hot, not for Red Hot Chili Peppers, but yeah, smart enough to give us back to the correct one: Red Hot Chili Peppers album Blue Sugar Sex Magic Deluxe Edition. And by the way, if you haven't seen, I've tried something that it's even not in the utterances right there. But again, because we had some sample, and we also use the slot slot without anything. Alexa is smart enough to deal with and transform. Give me some red dots to what we want, or at least catching that and sending that back to the API. Do you have any question on that? Or
Nico,
did I lost everyone?
Nico, don't worry. You never lose us, I promise. But there are a few questions that are in the chat right now. Okay. There's a bunch, so I apologize if we don't get to all of them. But there's a few questions about the databases specifically, more around how many records can they handle per minute, how many database records might be free, or if there's any sections around that.
Okay, let's do
cool.
that, I think. Thanks, Emily.
No problem.
So I think it's, yeah, you have that right here. So it's 10,000 and you have 50,000 operation. And that's, I think it's the mount, by mount. So yeah, you have something to play with. The limitation is not a big thing here. You can do a lot of stuff before reaching any limitation. Let's start from the beginning. Well, yeah. Can we do such a percentage string compression? Okay, so at least input could be just cosplay. So yeah, I've demoed that using the Algolia API. I think you get the point. I'm just looking for API. This was something as well. Okay. Suggested API to add to the integration section. Oh yeah, this is more feature request. But yeah, again, we are working on integrating or do make some reusable component. This is something we are thinking of since pretty much the beginning of Voiceflow. So this will happen. We just want to do that correctly. But yeah, Razor, YouTube, Vimeo, Airtable, Twilio, everything is on the marketplace. And for now, you will have to import and copy paste the block. Yeah, sure. But yeah, we are working on that. Robert, I don't know. Actually, I've discovered Algolia during a session in France, but I didn't know that much about how they deal or what they are using. But this is something you should be able to find on their website for sure.
Nico,
database record.
I believe there was a question in regards to the if block. There was a note in here saying that someone had run into an issue with the if block, and I was wondering if you could quickly just walk us through.
Yeah, I tried to avoid that. Yes, thank you, Emily, for putting that on the table. No, it's fine. We do have. I think it's with the expression. We do have an issue right now in the debug, but it's only affecting the debug tools. And if you are using, you know what? Let's just show that right now. If you are using expression in the set or if block, it will not work. It will trigger something a message. So I need to go to the if, remove that, and expression. Yep. If, sorry, okay. If artist equal something. So it should work, but it will not. Because yes, we do have a bug right now. But if you launch that, you will have this timeout error promise. So if you see that, don't spend too much time trying to debug. It's something on our end, and the ticket has been made already. Someone is already working on this fix. It should be pushed very soon. And yeah, but again, if you want to test it for now with or test if block with if or set block with expression, upload to Alexa and test that on the Alexa simulator or device. I think that's it.
Great.
Any last question or something?
I think that we might have, let me just quickly kind of go through. I think for now, if there are any additional questions or any suggestions on things that you guys would like us to cover next week or in any of our future sessions, I will follow up with the recording of this session, as well as a link to our Airtable submissions form for any topics that you guys might have. If you guys have any questions about today's topics, feel free to post those in our Google Classroom, where Nico puts up the vast majority of the stuff that we cover in here in greater depth. So you're able to kind of go through all the assets that we cover as well.
Yes, and as for the TP-Link project that we've added to the marketplace, I will surely add the Algolia one also. I think this is something you guys want to play with. Instead of just putting that to the Google Classroom, I will also share that on the marketplace. So again, thank you guys for being here, and yeah, talk to you soon. Bye.
Thanks so much, guys. See you guys next week.